I never seem to have a bad day when he has a bad day. Our bad days are always on different days.
That would be the best advice. Just treat your wife like a queen, and really just do your best by her and treat her with respect, even when you're frustrated.
Some marriages take work, you know.
How about you, Johanna? What advice would you give?
Being with somebody that has the mentality to know that everything is fixable. You want someone that always has that strong positive outlook on things, and to have that mindset like, this is tough, but we're going to get through it. And just when someone has that mindset, you're a team. And I think that's important in a relationship, to know that like nothing's going to break us. Everything is fixable and we're going to get through it. And when you have someone that's going in on it with you, I think it just, it makes a difference. You know, when someone has any doubt about it, that's when you're going to find weakness in that relationship.
And that creates arguments and
Yeah.
all the things. Yeah.
Doubt in everything.
Yeah.
If you're down about this, well, is our marriage in doubt? Like, is our relationship, our
second-guessing.
family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
trust.
Yeah.
Trust,
If you have that
yeah.
foundation, everything starts to fall into place, and you're good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the advice that I would give to husbands is very similar to what you're saying, but the way I kind of coined it is treat your wife like a queen, the queen that she is.
Yep.
Right? Like, relationships should be built on mutual respect. And as a man, we got to treat our wives right, because you're right. We do get the easy end. I mean, and look, don't get me wrong. You can be tough, providing and all of that, and it can be stressful.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about raising the children and taking care of the home and everything that goes into that, I just want to say you guys work way harder than we do. And thank you for everything you do. Seriously.
Absolutely.
But that would be the best advice. Just treat your wife like a queen. And really just do your best by her and treat her with respect, even when you're frustrated, even when she's, having a time and she's upset, and try to stay calm, cool, and
just listen.
Just listen. I know I still am taking notes on that one myself, but I'm working on that.
So I read, and I've used this a couple of times. I need to use it more. And not, are you done? Sorry, I didn't take you off your soapbox. Do you want me to listen, or do you want my advice?
Yeah.
That's something that us men need to practice.
You started doing
we
that.
need to practice that, because most of the time we just want us to listen, and men like to fix stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we like to fix situations, just get it done because we want to get laid, and but if you got something on your that you need to get off your chest, and then you want my advice to listen. So that's something that I definitely practice.
We've done that.
Anybody who's watching, I would definitely. Do you want me to listen, or do you want my advice? So, and piggyback off of what you said, anybody who follows me on social media knows, and I've done this with several posts. I worship my wife, absolutely worship her, because I watched her birth both daughters in a bathtub at home with no epidural, and it was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen in my life. My son was there, and I just, since that, I've just been like, you can have whatever the you want for the rest of your life, and I'll make it happen. You women are incredible. I mean, you have, imagine a man menstruating just once, right? I mean, we'd be in the corner, honey, call the ambulance, I'm bleeding. We couldn't handle that, and you girls do it monthly, and then you look good after, right? Or you grow a baby inside and give birth, and then you got to look good after. I mean, men couldn't handle that shit just for a second. I'm gonna go to work and provide, and you take care of the rest. So it's unbelievable what you women are capable of. I mean, just the hormonal aspect of and the range and all the different adjustments that you have to make throughout your life, and be present, and still show up, and still be a mom, and still be a husband, a wife, and still look good. It's a lot of pressure. We're just dumb, simple creatures. We go to work, we come home, and hopefully we get laid. It's like, it's kind of that simple. We get fat, you still love us. We get skinny, you still love us. But it's not fair.
There is something I want to add. I can't take credit for it because we heard it once before. Is they say like a relationship's 50-50, and I heard this once, and I'm like, oh my God, we should do this. I never seem to have a bad day when he has a bad day. Our bad days are always on different days, and we always let us know, like each other know,
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm at a 20%,
Yeah.
or you know
I
what
saw
I mean?
that same- yeah, I
and
saw it,
it's
yeah.
and it's
It's
true, and it's just
interesting,
isn't
yeah.
it weird that we're never having a bad day at the same day?
It is kinda crazy.
But we always let each other know, so then when he gets home, he knows, okay, I need to give more today because she's down,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Yeah, it's
vice
great.
versa.
Awesome.
Anyways, that's super
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That little phone call on the way home gives me a lot of information.
Just the tone in her voice,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
yeah.
I need to be at this level today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And vice versa, you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's a really good thing. You know, something that you mentioned, right? Like, is that, you know, men are typically problem solvers and, and sometimes, you know, women just want us to listen. So we have innate different traits.
It's hard to do too sometimes.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm still learning that process. But, you know, so something it kind of reminds me of, you know, what's going on, you know, the mainstream media. They've ramped up so much conversation about feminism and toxic masculinity and, you know, what the gender roles should look like. And it feels like it's just kind of confusing the matter. But I'm just curious to get your guys' thoughts. You know, do you believe that these kinds of conversations and this talk about these two things affects relationships? And if so, how do you think it affects relationships today?
So I've definitely seen, like, and I'm sure you'll agree, like
Yeah.
on local Facebook mom groups, it's like every day it's couples getting divorced
Literally
every day.
Yeah.
It's nonstop,
Sad. Yeah.
right? And you wonder why, like, what is going on? I think what you said is right on point. I think there's so much confusion in the world about the gender roles. Me personally, as a woman, I think just biologically, that's the right word to say, women, we just want to feel safe, right? We want to know that our man has our back and that our man is going to provide. And luckily, I don't have to wonder, you know, if our bills are going to get paid. Like, I know he's got that. And he doesn't have to wonder if there's any food at home when he gets home, or if the children are okay, if the children have made their doctor's appointments. And I think that a lot of these roles being reversed is really screwing up with just marriages in general, because I mean, I do feel, you know, as a women are we're very sensitive, we're very emotional, where men are a lot more logical. Like you were saying, men, we just want to fix stuff, right? And so I think that creates a lot of confusion in relationships. And I think just social media also makes it seem like it's just so easy to give up, you know, on your marriage. But some marriages take work, you know. Yes, we have a great relationship, but it didn't happen overnight also. Yes, we have great chemistry, but I think just because we know what each other's roles are, there's no confusion in that. That's set clear, you know, since the beginning, since day one, what each of our roles are. I think that's really important for a relationship too. It's just everybody knows what their roles. And, you know, a lot of women are complaining, oh, my husband, you know, just plays video games or doesn't pitch in and doesn't do that. Well, you need to each have clear roles of what each one is bringing to the table, because and I do think there's a lot of expectations of mothers, you know, like especially if you're working and you're coming home and you're making dinner and you're taking care of the kids when the husband just comes in and just kind of checks out. So I think definitely having clear values, you know, of what each role is going to be. If not, I mean, that's going to create a lot of confusion in marriages for sure.
Yeah.
Having a son, my oldest that's going into high school, he does see all this and hears, it brings a lot of stuff home about things that he hears. I think it hasn't really been a struggle in our particular home, but I feel like we do a good job with instilling the values and the way, leading by example and showing the way a marriage should be. And so just having a lot of conversation at home, I think at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to instill that in the kids. So just creating that foundation at home, I think, has been helpful.
Yeah. And having a lot of conversation with them to help them understand, you know, the way to look at things, because it's confusing to a kid. You know,
Easy to adults.
It is. It is. I mean, there's
true.
so
They
much
see
of this
now
going
all
on.
their friends questioning everything, and even now, you know, I mean, I don't know if teachers are talking about it, but it's being
They are.
yeah.
They're
So it's like,
indoctrinating our kids.
yeah. So it's the doubt and
confusing.
the questions that come when they're coming home is like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, in the 8th grade, I remember him telling us about walking home from school, and a friend asked him if he was gay or straight. He says, "Well, I'm straight," and they were like, "Oh, you're only straight."
Yeah.
That
Why
was
do I
never,
need to be
it's in the
more?
8th grade.
Actually, I shouldn't be laughing because
Yeah,
that's a
only.
real
Yeah, he
thing.
said that only straight, and I'm like, Mom, like, it's like a fad. It's like to have more than one
Yeah.
He's
attraction.
14, right? So he's still a virgin, right? So I mean, he doesn't even, I mean,
But it's like
that's
a
the
cool
age.
thing
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Yeah, it's like trendy.
To be
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
It's strange to me that's and just my take on it is I think what it's doing it is complicating relationships because and I think it did start with both parents working all the time.
Yeah.
That's
Who's
where it
watching
started.
the kids?
right?
Who's guiding the kids? Who's setting the example for the kids?
Exactly.
And then you're basically teaching the kids to go to work and be factory workers,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, that's what that's what the school system basically does nowadays. Is that it molds your child to become a factory worker, right?
Yep.
To follow rules,
Exactly.
to go to work, bring your sandwich, and those days are over.
And I think this whole idea of toxic masculinity, for example, right? What it's doing, it's making young men feel ashamed of being a man.
Yeah.
Literally, and it's emasculating them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And listen, toxic masculinity. When I think of that term, which is not what's being propagated in
Yeah.
the media, I'm thinking, a man who's like beating their wife all the time, and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and talking down to her all the time. That's different. That's
Yeah.
and that's a whole nother thing. That's
There's
actually more
narcissism. There's
Yeah.
there's mental abuse, physical abuse.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a whole different term. So it really shouldn't be called that. And then feminism. I mean, and again, I think it started with women having to work and and climbing up the corporate ladder. And what it does is it tears them more away from being the nurturer and having to be a shark in this world of sharks.
Yep.
And that's not natural for the body chemistry of a man and a woman to be that way. So it's just tearing. I think it's tearing away the fabric of relationships, and then it goes into the values like we've been talking about, and it seeps into the values, and then it just becomes a mess. So, and I think the only way to course correct it, in my opinion, is like what we said with our kids.
Yep.
We have to make sure we are examples for our kids. Our
Yeah.
kids won't listen to everything we say, but they're going to watch what we do,
Yeah.
and if they see us do it and say it, they're much more likely to go down that path.
It's our duty. It's our duty to be successful as men. It's our duty to provide, to pave the way, and to fix and solve problems.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
And when you talk about how different we are, like I'm going to give one small little example. So I remember after our first child, sorry, babe, I got to dime you a little bit. So after our first child, postpartum, I didn't think postpartum was a thing. I thought it was just kind of like, all right, you're just an excuse for you to be crazy. No, it's a real thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Men out there, it's real. So be sensitive to that.
Yeah,
and she does come back.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, that was
I had
tough.
it bad the first time.
Yeah. It's isolating, as a first time mom, it's a very lonely place.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was
Well, we become second-class citizens.
Yes.
So or third-class citizens even. So, and when you go from being that's why to circle back, make your partner number one, and that solves all that.